Do you know about the shortest day of the year?
When I have a worry-filled mind, I like to wander outside. No telling what we might find. Birds calling, worms crawling, leaves falling down from above. Oh, I plant my feet on the ground. I keep my head in the clouds. I let my feelings out loud. I hear joy calling, fear crawling, tears falling down out of love.
Welcome, friends. This is A here. Thank you so much for joining me today on this last episode of Season 3. Before we get started, we're going to take some time to check in with our feelings. We're going to practice naming our emotion or emotions that we might be feeling right now. And remember, there are no good or bad feelings or emotions. We can think about how we deal with those feelings and how we respond to the people around us when we're feeling certain ways that will help us feel more comfortable with ourselves and help people feel more comfortable with us. But no feeling is good or bad. They come and go and change just like the weather does. So take a moment to listen to your body. How's it feeling? I'm going to zoom in on my feelings poster and I'm going to ask you to point to or name the feeling that you are experiencing right now. Did you find your feeling? Let's say it out loud. 3, 2, 1. Loved. Thank you so much for taking the time to share your feelings with me. I really appreciate it. You may have heard I said I am feeling loved. I'm feeling loved because I have had people from around the world support me and compliment these videos I'm making and let me know that they are appreciating them. So I'm feeling really loved and really grateful. If you haven't already hit that red subscribe button, that's another way that I feel really supported and really encouraged to keep sharing and keep creating for you. If you're interested in supporting me another way, you can always check out my Patreon, where you can support me financially by giving me $1 a month or $10 a month if that's comfortable for you. You can also get this feelings poster as a free download. So thank you so much for being here and spending your time with me today or before or any time you visit. Now, as I mentioned, no feelings are good or bad, but the way that we respond to them could make us feel bad or good or make people around us feel certain ways as well. And so we always talk about different tools or strategies we can use if we want to move closer to the green zone and feel more comfortable and settled in our own skin. One of the things we always talk about is moving our body or exercising. And we are going to exercise today with our friend Fig. Now, Fig is showing us a move, and it might be a little tricky to tell what it is, but they are moving lots of parts of their body, and we are going to be able to do their move in a little bit, make some observations and make a guess, and we'll see if we can figure it out. To start us off, we're going to do arm circles. Now, we can do arm circles sitting or standing. All we have to do is stretch out our arms. And we are going to make big circles with them, or small circles, forward circles, or backward circles, whatever feels best. And we are going to do, how many arm circles? Oh, it's December. So what month is December? Do you remember my song? Let's sing it once more in case you've forgotten. January, February, March, and April, May, June, July, and August, September, October, November, December. These are the months of the year. So we had 10 and 2 more. December is what month? Oh, the 12th, yes, 12th month. Thank you. So we are going to do 12 arm circles. Go ahead and get in position, and let's count up to 12. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Fabulous work. Now we are going to do some twists. But we need to know how many. What is 12? Take away 1, or 1 less than 12. 11, yes, 11 twists. Again, you can do these sitting or standing, whatever is best for you. 1, 2, 3, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. All right, now finally we have Fig's moves. What is Fig showing us? Dance moves. Oh, thanks, Fig. Are you celebrating the end of the year? Yeah, they are. All right. Now, dance moves are fabulous because they are unique and different, just like each of us. You can do whatever dance moves you'd like, but how many? 12, 11. What number comes before 11? 10. Let's do 10 of our own dance moves. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Friends, thank you for moving your body and exercising with me. The thing that I love most about moving my body is sometimes I don't even realize that I'm exercising or doing something that can make my heart healthy, like dancing. It just feels fun. Anytime we exercise or raise our heart rate, you may remember, we always want to cool it back down. So listen for my bell, and when you hear it, fill your belly big with air and slowly let it out. Amazing job. Thanks so much for practicing that cool down breath with me. Now, at the beginning, I asked if you knew about the shortest day of the year, and I have a message to help us learn a bit more. As always, be on the lookout for those alliterations, onomatopoeias, or spoonerisms. Dear wonderfully wild, wintry friends, did you know that winter solstice is when the sun is the furthest from the earth? Because of the way the earth is tilted and rotates, this only lasts one day before the earth and sun get a little closer again. In the northern hemisphere, top half of the world, we will experience the shortest day with the lowest light. It will likely feel colder, look darker, and most excitedly marks the start of winter. What are some special celebrations, activities, or traditions that you do during winter? Love, Mrs. A. Wow. Did you hear about winter solstice? The shortest day of the year. Did you know any of that before, or did you learn something new? I love learning new things, and I'm so glad I get to learn them with you. Now, I have a lot of wonderful books that are going to help us learn some new things together. And this first one is a non-fiction book. That means it is all true. They are facts. And it is called Arctic Lights, Arctic Nights. And it was written by Debbie S. Miller, and the illustrations are by John Van Zyl. And this is such a beautiful book that walks us through Arctic days and nights. And there are so many beautiful illustrations and a ton of information. But we're going to look at just one day, winter solstice. December 21st, winter solstice. 3 hours and 43 minutes of daylight. The sunrise in the Arctic happens at 10:58 a.m. The sunset happens at 2:41 p.m. The average high temperature is 6 degrees Fahrenheit, and the average low temperature is negative 12 degrees Fahrenheit. Whew, I hope they're bundled up. Let's read. Hush. Silence. Temperatures may fall to 40 degrees below zero. In the twilight, the moose nibble on twigs and bark to survive the winter. As the Alaska blue sky grows dark, they bed down in the powdery snow. On winter solstice, the top of the world tilts away from the sun. The nights are long, and the cold runs deep. During the shortest day of the year, a family bundles up and watches nature's holiday celebration. The magical northern lights dance and swirl across the clear, icy sky. Do you see that family all bundled up? Do you see any of those colorful northern lights dancing in the sky? Even though it gets dark and cold during winter solstice, there is still so much beauty to be found. As I said, this book, Arctic Nights, is really incredible for helping us learn new things and shows us some really wonderful landscapes and illustrations too. Next is a book that I think is really sweet because of its simplicity, which reminds me of Winter Solstice and the Shortest Day. And fittingly, it is called The Shortest Day, written by Susan Cooper, illustrated by Carson Ellis. And we are going to read a little bit of this book together. And maybe you'll see what I mean about the simplicity and how it makes you kind of think of winter when things slow down, get quiet and cold. The Shortest Day by Susan Cooper, illustrated by Carson Ellis. So the shortest day came, and the year died. And everywhere, down the centuries of the snow-white world, came people singing, dancing, to drive the dark away. Do you sing or dance in the winter? They lighted candles in the winter trees. They hung their homes with evergreens. They burned beseeching fires all night long to keep the year alive. Do you like to decorate anything with evergreens, or turn on lights or light fires in the winter, just like the people in this story? If you grab this book, The Shortest Day, you'll continue to see how they celebrate the winter and how they hope for the light. And I just love this book. Like I said, it really makes me feel like I'm in a cozy winter scene. So be sure to check it out from your library or from the description in this video, where you can get it from your local bookstore. And finally, we have a really beautiful collection of stories. This book is called The Return of the Light, and it is 12 tales from around the world for the winter solstice. It's compiled by Carolyn McVicker Edwards, and it has 12 stories, or myths, stories that have been passed down from different peoples and different people groups from around the world. And I wanted to share this first one with you, called Why Hummingbird Has a Red Throat. And it is a story from the Ola-Menco Miwok, Northern California coast. Let's read together. The Ola-Metco Indians of Bodega Bay, California, north of what we now call San Francisco, were one of the Miwok tribes who made their homes for thousands of years on the north coast of California and the lower slopes and foothills of the Sierra Nevada mountains. The Miwok vanished at the turn of the 20th century when white settlers brought their diseases and took their lands. Anthropologists and mythologists, aware that a culture whose simplicity belied its richness was dying before their eyes, recorded the stories and the memories of the few Miwok still alive. Today, on sites protected and interpreted by museum curators, you can visit Miwok ghost villages set among the native nutritional and medicinal plants about which these people knew so much. Stationary, not nomadic, the many-tribed and many-languaged Miwok peoples shared a common understanding of the mythological origins and workings of the world. All Miwok peoples told their visions of the exploits, adventures, and personalities of the first creature people who transformed themselves into all the animals and objects of the world. All told of Coyote Man, a trickster whose magic was almost always used for the good. Humans, the Miwok said, were made of feathers, stick, and clay. The Hokoi-Ko Miwok tribe of the Tamales Bay told the story of Sun Woman, who owed her brilliance to a coat of shining abalone shells. The last surviving member of the Olamentco Miwok told a brief, unsentimental version of this story of Tool Wren, today called the long-billed marsh wren and hummingbird. This story was first published in 1910. Let's hear it. Why Hummingbird Has a Red Throat. At the beginning, when the first people lived on the top of the great canopy of the sky had 4 holes in it, one in the east, another in the south, one in the west, and another in the north. The sky holes opened and closed rapidly all the time. The first people used their magic to come down through the holes and to change themselves into all the creatures, plants, and things of the world. So when earth people were created, they had oak trees and flat stones on which to grind their acorns. They had reeds for houses and baskets. They learned from the sun how to shoot arrows like rays. They learned to live together like minnows swim and mice nest. But Chaka, the marsh wren, was an orphan boy. No one liked him. The people gave Chaka food. Sometimes the people even gave him a crayfish to eat. But they always made Chaka feel like an outsider. So Chaka stayed under the bulrush and sedgegrass, only appearing at dawn and dusk to ask for more. Chaka grew more ashamed, and the people grew stingier. "Get your own food, Chaka," they said. "We work hard. Why don't you? It's not our job to feed you, even if you are just a kid." Marsh Wren's eyes filled with tears of anger. The white stripes over his eyebrows quivered. "If you don't feed me," he yelled, "I will shoot out the sun." Everyone laughed. "Yeah, right, Chaka. Go right ahead." "I will," rattled Marsh Wren. "Do it," said the people, clearly not believing him. They turned away. Marsh Wren did shoot out the sun with an arrow as sharp as his beak. As though it had been a bladder filled with light, the sun popped and all the light disappeared. The whole world became dark. No sun, no moon, no stars, no fire. Everything was dark. The dark seemed to last for years. No one could find food because no one could see. Everyone was starving. All this time, Oye, the Coyote Man, was thinking about how he could get the sun and light back again. At length he saw something way up in the eastern sky through the hole that opened and closed as fast as a woodpecker wrapped on a dead tree trunk. "I think I see light," said Oye to himself. He squinted his eyes. "Now there is no doubt. Yes," he exulted. But a moment later, Oye's tail drooped. "Now how am I going to go all the way up there to get that light?" he asked himself. Glumly, Oye began to pick his way through a tangle of old blackberry vines that led to his tiny stash of acorn mush. "Ouch! Oh, ouch!" he yelped as the thorns scratched at his nose and his soft footpads. Oye remembered the good old days when this path had been blanketed with wet, curling ferns. The sun's beautiful light had slanted through the limbs of the gnarled live oaks, now too hidden by the dark. "Oh, rats!" murmured Oye. "Rats and sots!" "Rats yourself!" answered a high-pitched voice, followed up by a "Rup!" "What? Huh? Who's there?" said Coyote Man. He heard another "Rup!" sound and said, "Oh, hey, Hummingbird! How's it going, Calliope?" Coyote Man was glad to have someone to talk to. "Rup! Same old, Coyote Man, same old thing, you know that," said Hummingbird. "If we just had some light." "Yeah," Oye agreed automatically. Then, near his eyes, he felt the tiny wind stirred by Calliope's wings. Suddenly, he could picture his cinnamon, purple, and green-colored little friend, wings vibrating like twin halos. He remembered Calliope darting through the air faster than a fish flits through shallow water. "Hey, Hummingbird, I've got this great idea." "Calliope," sputtered Oye. "Guess what I just saw just now? Light, Calliope, light! I saw light way up high in the sky. Way too high for me to get, but you, Hummingbird, you could get it in a second." "You saw light, Coyote Man?" The little voice was incredulous. "Where?" "Up high, Hummingbird. Really. Go look. I know you can bring it back for us." The tiny wind of Calliope's wings stopped for a moment. Oye could imagine his friend hesitating. Then he heard a reassuring "Vroom," and he knew Hummingbird was splitting the black air in a steep climb to the top of the sky. "It would be crazy not to try," shouted Calliope, but he was already too far away for Coyote Man to hear. Up, up, up rushed Calliope, until he too could see the dab of light blinking inside the mouth of the hole in the eastern sky. Nearer and nearer he sped, until, heart beating wildly with his own daring, he shot through the hole and tore off a piece of the blazing orange light on the other side. "Vroom! I got it!" yelled Calliope. He tucked the fire under his chin and hung for a moment in the air, luxuriating in the heat. But suddenly the sound of giant wings flapping filled the space around him. In a burst of fear, without even looking to see what or who might be following him, he raced back toward the hole in the sky. Through it he flung the fire, and then he swooped after it. All around him the air turned pink and blue. The fire he carried swelled round as a puffball and sent arrows of light down to the earth below. People gathered on the shores of the bay, cheering, and Coyote Man whooped and howled. Even Chaka, the marsh wren, muttered with pleasure. "Cook-a-churr," he said. Calliope, now glittering graceful in the light of the new sun, sped toward his nest. His feathers shone as they had in the old days, metallic bronze-green, jewel-like purple, and rich golden cinnamon. But when Calliope modestly lifted his head to acknowledge the happiness of everyone below, the feathers on his throat, against which he had carried the light, were tinged a new brilliant scarlet, the color of sunfire. And so Hummingbird is marked to this very day. Did you hear anything in that myth that made you think of something real or true, something nonfiction? The hole in the sky to the east. Yes, me too. The sun rises in the east. Maybe you knew that. Maybe you didn't know that yet. Friends, this book, The Return of the Light, is filled with so many marvelous tales, and I would definitely encourage you to grab your own copy and check them all out. Friends, we have one final job together, and that is to do a mindfulness activity. And today we're going to do a mindful stretch. I thought we could do a mindful stretch connected to all of these stories we looked at, and it is going to be a sunrise stretch. Now, there are a few different ways we can do this. We can stand up and start low before the sun rises and rise up. We can stay seated and start on one side and rise our sun across our body. And so you can decide which sunrise stretch is best for you. I'm going to stay seated and rise the sun from the east to the west. We are going to do 3 sunrise stretches together. And as we do, I want you to really focus on just being the sun and rising each time. Try to clear your mind of anything else. Mindfulness is one of the tools and strategies we can use if we're feeling stuck in our emotions or feeling really overwhelmed by them. It's a great way to help us practice refocusing, settling, and grounding ourselves. So let's do 3 sunrise stretches together. Ready? Thank you so much for giving that a try. How did those sunrise stretches make you or your brain or body feel? Mhm. Thank you so much for sharing. Some friends were saying they felt more comfortable. Some friends were saying they felt warm or relaxed. I'm so glad you gave it a try. Remember, each episode ends with a different mindfulness activity, so you can always go back and check them out and see which ones you like best. While you're there, make sure you hit that red subscribe button. And friends, I wanted to remind you that today's video is the last video I'll be sharing for season 3. I will share more in season 4 when I get back in the middle of January. So, like I said, make sure you've hit that red subscribe button so you can get a reminder when I get back with new videos for you on January 16th. Until then, I hope you have a fabulous end to the year. And I need to tell you that I love you because you're you, not because of what you do. And I can't wait to see you next time.